What's up, everybody? Eric Mashinsky, Gold Investment Letter. Today is Monday, September the 25th, 2023 in the evening. And this update is going to be relatively brief. I just want to make sure many of you will tune in. I don't want to make it a long form, even though there's plenty to talk about. This is checking in with our mainly free e-letter group that I have not given too many market updates and things recently. So I want to check in with you on the heels of last week being in Vancouver, Canada, for 4 days and 25 plus meetings after that, talking to everything from numerous corporate CEOs to investment bankers to brokers to regular savvy investors, promoters, you name it. I met with everybody, and not everybody, because I probably could have met with twice as many people if I had the time, because I have not been to Vancouver physically since 2019. So it was a long time coming. I'm really glad I went. I had a wonderful trip. I was able to gather a tremendous amount of intelligence, as well as in those situations, because Vancouver is like the US, Wall Street is to the US markets. But for us in the junior mining and the mining space, obviously Toronto is a big player, but Vancouver is where my heart is. Some of the smaller companies, the juniors that we get behind, the ones that we have had our biggest winners in. A lot of them start out smaller on the TSXV now, sometimes on the CSE. But Vancouver is where you're going to get the people that are engulfed in this sector every single day. And I was able to meet with a very interesting up and down, black and white, skinny, fat, doesn't matter. I had a really a very good mixed group that I was able to talk with, gather intelligence with, and then obviously share some of the things that we're doing here. But I have not gotten anything out to our free e-letter folks here in a bit. Those of you that are premium members, elite members, you are going to know what I'm talking about, and you're going to get another update tomorrow. For those of you that are newer or just watch this, or read the Gold Investment Letter stuff infrequently, look, I'm just going to say it. If you are a serious investor and you actually care, even if you're not that serious, but you actually want to make money, you're going to get ideas that are going to come and they're going to trickle into the free e-letter. I try to give value for people that just take their time to listen to my musings or watch videos or whatever else, or actually who have some sort of trust and or confidence or want to take a flyer on myself as a resource for ideas. I appreciate that. But my job is to reward directly those that are paying me for my research and hired me essentially as a premium member or an elite member. And elite members are, very advanced in terms of being accredited individuals and getting the deal flow that we get. I've got a vast background in this business. I've been doing this since I was, in teenage diapers. I started as a broker. I was licensed in the United States at the age of 20, dropped out of undergrad, and I've never looked back. And I've played many different roles on the street. And this area, this niche area, you would call it in the mining space, has become sort of my baby. That and crypto, and tech VC, tech venture. I've got a broad areas of interest, and also, when I deal with investors, as friends, as clients, whatever it is, anybody could be reading this right or listening to this right now. I'm talking about some of the largest money managers in the world, some of the biggest family offices in the world, some of the largest producing brokers in the world, and some of the postmen, I'm sure, have stumbled in here that, like stocks and are trying to get ahead in the market. That's cool too. But most of my audience tends to be a little bit more of a sophisticated group, a little bit more seasoned as it pertains to the markets. And so I don't take that lightly. I try to make sure that when I'm bringing things to the foray, Not every time. I mean, sometimes I'll share things that, a lot of people, it might be too small for a lot of the bigger money to even consider. But then I will show up with things that anybody can buy and I mix it up and I make sure to mix it up. So hopefully you all stick with me. But if you want to get in the mix and you actually believe what I believe, which is this is one of the things I wanted to say that has been percolating in my stomach and in my head, but I've not said it because I just wasn't quite positive. And I also know that based on the fact we've had a 3.5 year grinding bear market, that the only market in any time of recent history that this reminds me of is the summer of 2015 market, where we had already had 4 years since the 2011 top, where we were picking, companies that I was buying. For example, Gungnir Resources at a half of a cent. I came out with that recommendation. The company had a $400,000 market cap. Not for everybody, right? But I was finding stuff like that. And what ended up happening there? Well, took a couple of years, but that stock went to 40 cents, up 80x. But in addition to that, we were the ones, my elite members and I, were the ones that did a small financing for $300,000 at 3 cents with a full 5 cent warrant, which was recommended. If you don't have the cash, roll your open market stuff in there and get that warrant bonus. So you had 80x from bottom to top. Not to say that that's realistic to get out of all of it. Obviously, it isn't, but 80x bottom to top. And then you add another, what is it? 40 cents and a half a penny. I mean, you add another 35, 35x on top of it. Actually, from a half a penny, if you're still keeping count from there, it's another 70x. That was 150 times our money if you played that exactly. And that was one example. Another one that I'm going to just show you guys a little bit about, some charts on here, was Encore Energy. I'm just giving you a few stories because I think these are relevant to what's coming for us and for you if you just stay in the game. Many people have given up. Many people have packed up their bags and said, I'm going home. They've grabbed their ball and they're done. And you want to see that towards the end of a capitulation, a bear cycle ending, because I've got news for you. One thing I do know that comes after a bear market, there's one thing that comes. It's a bull market. And there's one thing that comes after a bull market, and it's called the bear market. And this thing happens over and over and over again. And we have been in the weeds and suffered, and it's been frustrating for a lot of people to ride a lot of these things down. But I am seeing, and I have been seeing, and I've actually released for the premium and elite members. We have a model portfolio and a subset of that is the venture cap portfolio, the mini cap portfolio, if you will, which is sub $5 million market capitalization, solvent, real assets, real management, good capital structure. And I even pick from there which ones will actually go into that portfolio. That portfolio alone, for any of you that are not like necessarily billionaires, but you want to make some real money in the next cycle, sign up for our premium service. I'll put the link below and get access to that and start going shopping slowly but surely. That's what I have done. And I picked out, we have gold deals in there. We have nickel, we have lithium, we have silver, copper. I've been able to find about a dozen of these plays that fit that criteria. And a couple of them may not really work out super well, but some of them are going to work out and go up 100-fold. Okay. That's what's going to happen with that list. And if you buy, say, 10 of them and put the same amount of money in them, and one of them goes up even 50x, the rest of them can all go to zero, and you're still going to make 5 times your money, which is a world-class return if it happens over the course of 3 to 5 years. I'm good at that. Okay. I like to go down to the ghetto and into the back alley and find these little deals that are going to end up becoming something and do it early, in addition to I own my producers. I own McEwen Mining, a mid cap play that I've got a big position in. But the junior miners, not necessarily that small. I like to go up a bit on the rung, but I'm in this game for grand slams and home runs and changing my financial profile. How was I able to do that? I was able to do that by swinging the bat, taking some chances, and not getting sidetracked by, oh, this one went down. Mashinsky said Bravada Gold 3 years ago was going to go up, and it's still down. So fuck him. He's a scumbag, dirtball. I'm not doing anything anymore there, but I'm just going to continue to read his stuff and look at him and then make comments every single time about how Bravada is still down. I just have news for you, in that note. I'm not mad at you, whatever. If you're mad at me, that's your problem. But the problem is that you're not approaching venture investing, which is what this is, venture capital. Venture capital allocations, that sort of an asset class, you have to have some diversification because even the best in the world, in the venture world, which I've worked with closely, John Doerr, Vinod Khosla, some of the best VCs in Silicon Valley, have told me this themselves. You don't exactly know which one is going to end up working out the biggest or the fastest. So you have to spread your chips. And as long as you're right, and as long as you're right on, whether it's the majority or it's at least that you're right in a massive way on some of them, it doesn't matter. You can have a number of these deals go to zero. It's okay. And not only is it okay, it's just going to happen. So if you can't get used to that, you shouldn't be playing down here in this area. Either do it right. And I'll tell you something. I'm actually having a call in a recording with my elite members and my premium members this week, where I'm challenging them because some of them do this and some of them don't. And I'm just going to say, how much money do you want to risk with GIL going forward for 2 to 3 years? Anything and everything that I come out with that you can afford to participate in, do it exactly when I say it, at the prices I say it, and let's find out if I'm worth having around for the next 20 to 30 years or not. But don't judge me on me mentioning something and coming out 4 times and recommending something like, Carlyle Commodities that I've been talking about for the last 6 months and bought up 6.5% of the entire company myself. And then we do a placement, just a few weeks ago at 8.5 cents. And now all of a sudden the thing traded it to 18 today and it's going to $1. But you didn't buy it yet. And now you're thinking about buying it. Look, I'm saying that, I take a lot of this stuff that I deal with, even if I don't know you and you're on my list and you actually have, at least the interest, and then perhaps even you have confidence that somebody like me who we don't know actually has some talent and ability, and not only that, but the integrity that you're not going to get screwed or something, that's not my MO. And you bet some of your hard-earned money on something that I recommend, I take that seriously. Okay. And I want people that are around me. This is all that I have in life, is my oikos, my sphere of influence. So I don't take it lightly. And I do my best to try to have people be better off after, say, me or whatever else, or after a few years. You're better off having known me than before you met me. That's my ultimate goal in all this stuff. And there are many, many, many people, hundreds, if not thousands of people that feel that way. But there are a lot of others that don't, and it could be because I had a dry spell. It could be because I got sucked into a promotion like back in this happens very rarely anymore. I think I've learned my lessons the hard way, but it could be 2015, 16, 17. I got into a promo. I got excited. I pumped it up, and then we all piled in there, and then the rug got pulled, and it's like people think maybe I did that. I get that. But look, if you're here fresh, or you've been around, you've had mixed results, whatever it is, my petition to you is, please going forward, if you want to make potentially a lot of money, because one thing that I actually have done, and I've done it in front of you, is I have been able to, since I started this newsletter in 2011, I've evolved my financial profile to new levels. And it's not from marketing the newsletter and getting paid that way, it's from my investments. I would think that that's exactly what you would like to see. If you're going to take somebody's advice, is somebody who's actually flourished in front of you. Definitely bumps in the road, definitely down times, doesn't phase me anymore. I know what to do in this business. And a lot of times it's just a matter of time before things are going to pay off. And we're in an interesting time right now because 3.5 year bear market reminds me of 2015. Look what happened in 2016, right in the beginning of January. The GDXJ quad or tripled in 7 months. A lot of the smaller juniors that we were involved in went up 10x. I don't think it's going to be that similar. Like, say, for example, that we were going to mimic that market a little bit, or we were just near a bottom. I actually want it to be a little more measured because I think that you could argue that that was a cyclical, it was a bounce in a secular bear market that was violent, but then came back into its secular bear market. I want a secular bull market in metals and mining stocks. And I think we're very close to that. If you are active with me at this time with some of the valuations that we're seeing, and you're able to take action in the market, despite some days they're dead, stocks are dead, they're down, whatever it is, you're going to crush it with me. You're going to absolutely kill it. And people that I know that are doing that along the way, once we get into these markets where everything is flying and it's actually a race to try to get, allocations and placements because they're going to be gone in a second and stocks start to run, I take care of my people. And that's why the elite members and premium members that have been with me a long time, it's the reason why I'm even back right now and fully engaged, because of people that have showed me loyalty through when I was sick, through when I pivoted over to crypto for a while. And I just really appreciate it. So what I'm saying to you guys in the e-letter right now is, if you want to get serious at the right time, even if we're early, get a premium membership. And if you're a big dog, go get elite, because the deal flow alone is going to end up, good markets are bad, we make a lot of money in our private placement deal flow. But I bring that up because, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Why don't we do that? Screen share. I'm just going to show you guys something here, which is Encore Energy. Okay. This is a good example of like my life and career. And for a lot of you here, I've had massive, mega, enormous, life changing winning picks in this newsletter regularly. Every couple of years, bull market, bear market, we've had something that started off back in 2012, the year after I started this newsletter, which had barely 100 or 200 people on the free e-letter, when I isolated Zenyatta Ventures. And Zenyatta Ventures was a 18-cent Canadian stock that I made my top pick in August of 2012. And by July of 2013, the stock hit $5. That put me on the map a little bit in Canada and was the beginning of GIL. But the big win and the big winners are what we need in this business. As a letter writer, we've got to have some of these plays. And frankly, I like to have them a lot. And I've had a bit of a lull with, putting massive points on the board, but I think that's changing. And I'm going to show you one of the opportunities here where if you go back in Encore Energy, right? So this deal I got in, and this has been a 3-to-1 reverse split. So if you look at the pricing on here, it had been to almost $7. Well, that's actually like 230 because it was a third of that when we got involved. We got involved sometime in 16 when the stock was a nickel to 6 cents, which would then equate to, on this chart, 15 to 18 cents. And you see this big spike here. big volume. Um, Long story short, we already had the big jump in 16 in the gold and the other mining companies. And I thought that uranium was starting to get to the point where the bear market was ending. I did my thing, which is scour the internet and find the cheapest, most viable companies that I could find. I reached out to Bill Sheriff at Encore. The stock was 5 cents a share. It was dead. It was trading on appointment. And I offered him some money. I said, do you want a $500,000? My elite members and I, we've just made a lot in gold and silver, and I want some uranium exposure. And you guys, during the last cycle, those guys started fresh and ended up selling Energy Fuels for $3.2 billion by the end of the cycle. So those are the folks that I'd like to attach onto. To his credit, Bill Sheriff, a lot of you know him in the business. He actually told me, I don't think uranium's ready yet. It's going to take at least another year. And I said, well, I think it's getting pretty close, and let's do something. So we funded the company, and he brought in another big group out of Toronto. I think it was around just under $2 million we put in at 6 cents with a half a warrant at 10 cents. The stock ended up flying right away into the teens, and I ended up having a premium member who was the portfolio manager of a large insurance company that owned 12 million shares of Encore that wanted out. We crossed them out of that 12 million shares. The stock traded 20 million shares up to 20 cents or so that week. This is it right here. It was a big spike. And if you notice this move here, that's where I thought I was a genius. I called the bottom of the uranium market. We're off to the races. We're up 3x on whatever anybody got in the placement. And what happened next? 2 years rolled over into more of a bear cycle that was not done yet. One of the things that happened with that one that was unique, I think, is that I absolutely positively never, ever wavered on my bullishness. I told people this is a gift. You want to continue to accumulate Encore while it's back under a dime. It went to 4 cents, I believe, 4 or 5, back to 4 or 5, and 2 years. So a lot of people gave up, they left. What happened next? When the market was finally ready, and the thing that's most important to me is that not that I'm right away. I'd rather be early to get positioned correctly and get others positioned, but that I'm right eventually, and that uranium was going to come back, and that there was a lot of value in Encore Energy. So that's when the stock went up, to 227 or 230 or whatever it was from 5 cents. Plus, you add the warrant element in there, and you're talking about well over 100x on your money. It changed some people's lives. It made me a fortune, and we did very well. Then, fast forward to 21, and I had been out of most of my position, especially as we were spiking here and it was fading back. The stock that I did have left, I kept 10,000 shares on the books. I kept 10,000 in, I think it was my Sprott account or my Canaccord account that I never look at. But I had, hundreds of thousands of shares and already took that all off and just kind of moved on. And then now we've had a 2-year consolidation. I'm getting somewhere with this, so bear with me, and it's going to go quick, and then I'm going to close the video. 2-year consolidation on Encore. And I noticed this a few months ago, and I started to point this out, that this flag was going to turn up, and Encore Energy is going into double digits on the next run. Premium members, elite members, told them. I raised money, and I got half of my initial position share wise in Encore back on right around three and change. All of a sudden, sure enough, it took a couple months, boom, 475, already up over 50% on that. And this thing is just getting started. I'm bringing this up because some things out there, besides, me saying, oh, you got to buy, some things are starting to move. And that's one of them. Then you've got NG Energy. This deal, look at this deal. It's overbought right now, 87 RSI. But we came in right here. This was my premium and elite group. These are the things that you miss as an e-letter person, just so you know. And we are not stupid. And we are, I'm connected in a very good way to some very, very powerful groups in this business. And I do my best to relay why fuck people over and give them bullshit and everything else when you can actually do good deals. That's what I try my best to do. And over the last few years, I've raised my bar in terms of who I'm going to associate with, and that has helped. So you've got here on NG that had reopened up after a long period of time, where we had a long-standing, very famous investor who wanted out 14 million shares, I believe he was selling. Right here, back July 9th or 10th, 60 cents. We were in there in the jump ball, in the cross all morning, as much as you wanted. And we took down millions of shares out of that piece. But then, new principals that came in took big chunks of that, big money around this deal. And all of a sudden, what do we've got? 1 month, 2 months, just over 2 months, the stock has absolutely screamed and doubled. And it may need to cool off a little bit, but it's going higher. This is an oil and gas deal, by the way, which I had wanted to increase my exposure in, and I still do, because it's an area that I think is going to make a lot of money, and you still have some suppressed valuations. But that deal popping. And then even, like, for example, look at little Giga. Giga, I can tell you right now that all of this stock, right here, when it was pretty dry, I mean, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this circle. All the stock here, and certainly when it went above 20, I bought all of that. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was all me. I bought it down, I bought it here, and I have a big ass position in Giga Metals. But then after that, I put a piece out, and I think some people kind of got in there, but then it wasn't even us, I don't think. We had some other people that recognized the value, started stepping in, and we saw a spike of 50% in the stock above the 200-day. Pulled back, but now the selling on this thing is bombed out. They just came out with their PFS. The PFS is going to lead to another major partner and or investor and or buyer in Giga Metals. Mitsubishi bought in at a 53 million Canadian valuation to take a 15% stake at Turnagain a year ago. I don't believe anybody's going to be let in this door under 150 million. And we're sitting here in this deal. I tell you this because this is one of the biggest no-brainers I've ever seen in my entire career, guys. So pay attention. 27 million, Canadian. So 18, $19 million market cap US. Still 50% of what Mitsubishi paid in for a year ago, which is a big validator of the quality of the Turnagain asset, which is enormous, by the way. 40-year mine life, class 1 nickel, carbon probably close to neutral. Now at the PFS size, we're going to have a bidding war from, it could be mining companies, which, there's NDAs across the board in this deal at this point. I did meet with Mark Jarvis, the CEO, in Vancouver last week. And or it could be EV vehicles. But if you end up getting a situation that values, somebody wants to buy in on another minority stake, say they want to buy 20 or 30%, whatever, that is 5 times the price of the stock right now, 5 times, 5-fold. Why would somebody do? Well, guess what? Because they're going to have to do it. And now also the stock looks like it's starting to move and will be more appropriately valued, which gives me the idea that now that the PFS is on the table and all these conversations have been percolating for years, we're probably going to see this stock go back up into the 40s or 50s. And then the negotiations are kicking in to where somebody wants to buy in. They're going to have to value it at, they're going to have to value this thing at $1.50 or something like that. And I've said all along, Giga Metals, I may have been early on this, guys. I mean, that's definitely true. I'm personally underwater on my cost average of a very large position. My second largest position, I believe I have it's more than 2.2 million shares. I own a couple percent of this company now, and I've outlaid, whatever it is, more than $500,000 in investment, and I'm down about 20-30% on paper. I have zero concerns about it. Zero. I'm going to make a fortune on this deal. So if you want to, all you've got to do is pick up some stock here, bend over, pick it up, put it away, and just quit fucking worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow or next week. If you make, and when you make, I don't know how many of you have had the blessing of making 10 times your money, 5 times your money, 100 times your money. I've had it happen to me many, many times. And I can tell you that when it's occurring, I'm not sitting there going, oh, this is how long this one took me. It took me so long that, I'm upset about it. It took me 3 years to make 17 times my money. You're just happy and you're actually getting rich. Okay. So that's the important thing. The question is, am I wrong on my thesis? I'm not. I'm right. Buy Giga, sock it away, and just roll with me on this. And I'm not going to let you down. Okay. Phenom. I'm going to talk about Phenom for 1 second. For those of you that are in Phenom Resources, it has been easy to get frustrated because vanadium has come off hard since April. The price is actually not quite cut in half, but it's gone from 11, 12 down to under $7 a pound in vanadium. I'm not worried about this whatsoever. And in fact, some of the catalysts that are coming up for this thing are in the gold side, and they're big and they're massive. Go reread some of the different news that just came out here about the drills that are moving to go drill deep at Carlyle, hole number 17, in about a week. The Dobbin project, we did a video on YouTube interviewing Dave Matheson and Paul Cowley about this. What a special story. Plus, we picked up Crescent Valley. We now have a diversified gold and copper company that's going to get spun out as its own entity when that time is right. I'm not sweating it. It's going to happen probably in Q1. I would say we want to get it done, but that was supposed to be earlier this year. It just, it wasn't the right timing. We don't want to go and do that with one early stage copper project and one, with Carlin Deep, with the 16 holes that we didn't hit any high grade. And so you want to go out there and raise $5 million to fund a gold exploration company that doesn't have something that people are really excited about. Well, now they're about to get excited about it. Not only that, hole 17, let's see what happens, but I think they're going to hit something fucking big based on what I am deducing from Dave. These guys, you never know on one hole, but they're very excited about what has happened with the vectoring process to get them there, and are very excited about what they could get. The Dobbin project, you got 1 to 3% gold soil anomalies here at surface. So then you've got Crescent Valley. We did a little video about that before too. There's work going on at all 3 of these places. On the gold side, I had encouraged the team to just chill on the vanadium for now. The vanadium story is cold, but it will get hot again, and it will be big, and we will be the biggest. But for now, I want to find some gold, some new gold deposits, some new gold mines, some new gold districts, if God willing. And we're busy with doing that. The money's in the bank, and that stuff is happening. So what am I saying about Phenom? If Phenom Resources goes, I mean, look at here, guys. We had a run to $2 a share 2 times back in 18. I'll just do this 2 times back in 2018. We had 2 different separate runs to $2 a share in Phenom with an option on Carlin to drill for vanadium. That was it. We own the thing outright. We've got other amazing projects in here. We have a gold system that could be the biggest monster we've seen in Carlyle, Nevada in decades underneath the vanadium. And we've got a 5% stake in the most exciting battery technology manufacturer on planet Earth out of Tokyo, MK Plus. And it's growing in every capacity. Where will it go the next time? $2, okay, is just not going to cut it for me to be happy. This has got my name all over it. You know that. I know that. If you want to bet on me and or on Dave, which is what, he's a big part of the reason why I have 7 figures risked in this smallish company. Paul, I trust implicitly. Just saw him in Vancouver as well. You need to be scooping up stock in the 20s. You just should be. Everybody's turned off. Stock's not been trading well. Look, I mean, it was just at 50 cents in April, everything else being way down already. And I just took my foot off the gas because vanadium started to crack. If I'm going to buy up more stock and you're going to buy up more stock, do we want to do it cheaper or do we want to pay more? That's why we're here. Is it going to be hard to take the stock higher and get it higher based on what we have? No. How high is the question? And $2 a share is not going to make me happy. So you can think I'm full of shit or whatever else, but I'm looking for 10 to 20 bucks a share on this thing. And the only thing I'm not going to be confident in is like, when is that timing going to be able to materialize? Because we have different factors here. With gold, we're focusing on creating value where we can and creating insurance for shareholders. The vanadium assets itself is worth well more than the company's trading at, but vanadium has still got a downtick. That is going to change. Trust me when I tell you, vanadium will trade a lot higher in global markets in the coming years, and it could be substantially higher. And then that alone, and with us being in the mix with the largest and highest grade at surface vanadium asset in North America, we are going to be rewarded for that. In the meantime, we're going to find some gold. And at any point, any hole 17 comes back, we get a feeder zone with high grade and start publishing an ounce a ton intercepts, this game is over. Okay. So don't think for a minute that this thing is stuck. It's in motion. So what do you want to do in that case? Look, do what you want. But if I were you, I'd be buying a position in Phenom and stop worrying about what's going to happen next month. It's taken longer. And we've got to roll with these markets, the prices of the markets, the prices of the mining stocks, the juniors. It's been horrendous. But that goes for copper, that goes for nickel stocks, that goes for gold stocks. But you look at a Giga at these prices and you want to talk about a freaking no-brainer, buy some Giga, buy some Phenom. Okay, these are two of my special situations, my biggest positions. I'm interviewing Rob McEwen on Wednesday to get an update on McEwen mining. We're going to publish that, and you guys can make decisions for yourself. McEwen is actually my third biggest position now because it's come down a little bit, and I've bought more Giga, and Phenom's the biggest. Those are the companies that I've got the most of my own money in, and they're nowhere near having paid off yet. Okay, so if you want to, just put, follow the money, if you will, that's what I'm telling you with my stuff. And I've got a lot of other stuff that is just going to be huge. I'll say it here for anybody who's made it this far through the video. You want a special deal that's about to rip your face off and has already doubled in the last week when I was in Vancouver, and word is spreading and growing about one of the biggest bargains in the gold industry. It's Carlyle Commodities, CCC or CCCFF. I'm just mentioning that. I'm not saying anymore because premium members should still be building a position. Elite members, I mean, we ended up financing some of this thing, but it's still a strong buy. And if you look, I'll give you a hint. If you look at the 5-year chart of CCC, twice that thing has gone from where it is now, pennies, 17 cents or so, to $2 to $5, and it's going to do it again. So there are opportunities out there galore. Next for you guys, I'm going to end it here, but I'm going to come back and I'm going to touch on some of the legacy positions that I love, like Golden Tag is just very attractive right now. It's down, but it's a strong buy. I'm going to talk about Bravada Gold, which is, it's got hair on it. Okay. But I'll give you the down and dirty and share with you whatever I think that's going on with Bravada and what to expect. And some other plays that are more in the middle that I really like that I've been buying, that I think you guys could benefit from maybe adding a bit to your portfolios, none of which that, I've got marketing deals with or that we did placements with. These are just my calls. So I'm going to give you a mixture of that stuff coming up this week. And I would encourage you, though, before this market really starts getting rocking, because I think there's fingerprints that we're starting a new, better marketplace. It might not all happen at once, and I think it probably won't. You're going to have a subset of companies that are going to start to move, and you're going to have a big chunk of the companies that are going to continue to lag into tax loss selling season, and they're not going to get a pulse until we get into later in December and January. So there's going to be opportunities to rotate and things, and in premium and elite, I'll be shucking and jiving and actually maximizing those things, but I'm not going to be doing that here in the free e-letter. So if you want to get a little more serious, you pay the $777 for 6 months, get a taste of the premium. You're not going to be disappointed. I mean, with the environment that we're in and the blue sky that I have, instead of trying to like get everybody that's coming in because the markets are running and then you're getting greedy and then everything is up and overbought, those are much more difficult for me to navigate for other people than right now. Right now, you come in, I'm going to kill it for you. Do what I say, and you have a little bit of patience. There's no question in my mind. I'm going to crush this next bull cycle in gold and mining stocks. And I'd love for those of you that have been out there, if you left after I was quiet for a while and want to come back, I'll treat you like you never left and welcome you with open arms, because this, I think, is what I will stop on. I believe there's a very good chance that the bull market we see next in natural resources and mining stocks will be the largest in the history of mankind. I'll elaborate on that more later, but everything is set up for that to be the case. And not many people are thinking that way right now, as you know. I think it's going to be freaking ridiculously massive, and it will turn into a bubble of bubbles because of many different reasons that I'll get into at another time. Thanks so much for being with me today. Really appreciate it. I'm going to stop the recording and I will be in touch with y'all